Thank you, Claire. I'm just going to encourage you all to stand up. Just stand up. Food coma is real. Let's give your shoulders a little roll, a little wiggle. Just get feet on the ground, a little wiggle. Thank you. You can have a seat. I know, sorry. I did want to check. Can you hear me all in the back? Can you hear me in the back? Yes, lovely. If we speak too fast, it's because we're really excited and really passionate. But do give us a wave if you can't hear us, or we're speaking too quickly, or you'd like us to repeat something. But massive thanks to Claire. Really, really honoured and privileged to keynote at the Song Practitioners Conference with collaboration as your main theme. My name is Antonia, pronouns she, her, and I'm the Chief Executive and founder of Participation People. We are an organisation that is nearly 14 years old, 13 and a half, and I'm really proud to be here with some incredible young people who give me all my magic and secret sauce, hints, tips and tools and activities. I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour today, but before we launch into what we want to talk to you about, I'm going to introduce some amazing people, but actually give them the power and let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Yazz. I'm a young consultant at Participation People, and my pronouns are she, her. So as a young consultant, I basically get to work with Antonia and the rest of the team on youth-proofing different services and making sure that it's accessible for young people and that young people are at the heart of what we do.
Hi, it's not. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm also a young consultant. So basically that means we just follow what Antonia's... Oh, okay. That means we just follow what Antonia tells us to do, I guess. My stomach's a bit... That's true, it's true. My stomach's a bit funny from eating too much lunch, so sorry if I'm a bit just like, whoa. Yeah, we're supposed to do that. Yeah, so Antonia asked us to share a little bit about our story. We're doing that later. Not yet, that's later. Never mind. Spoilers! And yeah.
Hi, my name is Stasia. I'm also a young consultant, so it's probably why you've had us today. If you've been in our workshop, be like, how would you say that to a young person? Now we've got our little weird things at the back. So yeah, very youth-oriented, very young person central. So I hope that you can learn something and enjoy our show. So thank you.
What's possible?
It is past the mic today. I won't do a mic drop. I'm not Obama. But what I did want to say is we want to bring you some real insight from young people direct into the room today. And who better to do it than young people themselves? We will send you, before you will ask, will we get the slides? Yes, you will get the slides. But I'm also hoping you might take part in some fun today. Can I get an ooh-er? Ooh-er. Okay, well, we will try a little bit better. 3, 2, 1, ooh-er. Ooh-er. I'm actually not going to do much of the talking today because young people, that's what we're all here for. We love them. They cause us blood, sweat and tears regularly. The inbox is overwhelming, but at the same time, this is why we turn up to work every day. So I'm going to let them introduce who we are as an organisation rather than the chief executive bang on for a long time. So, Yazz, who are we?
So you've probably been to one of our workshops, or you will come later, so you will find out a bit more. But at Participation People, we focus on young people. That's the heart of what we do. Hence why Antonia has kind of got us there to talk to you guys, because we have experience of being young people, or maybe more recently than you guys. We're living in a current society with social media, and it's just a bit more recent, so yeah.
Okay.
But I joined Participation People because of one key value, and that was curiosity. And I think we've all heard the phrase of curiosity killed the cat, but some of you may not have heard the second bit where satisfaction brought it back. And I love this phrase so much more because it's like the idea of fulfillment. And after being curious, by asking questions or watching a video or listening to others is something that's so key here at Participation People. And as a team, we've created that space to ask questions and constantly grow whilst educating others and expand our knowledge. And that's something I truly value. And as a young person, having that environment where we can ask the question is so important. So don't associate curiosity as a bad thing, because without it, nothing that you do would be worthwhile. None of us learn anything without curiosity. We need to remember the idea of satisfaction, leading to growth in young people's mindsets. So today we want to give you the gift of curiosity by leaving you with memorable stats and facts to back up your student engagement, so you can make a change back at your desk.
Cool. Well, Yazz definitely came a lot more prepared than I did. I didn't really write anything like that, but yeah, so I joined Participation People to improve my courage and be more courageous, like doing things like this. I would have never done anything like this if it wasn't for Antonia. Literally, I joined Southern University's network. That was how I first got involved with Participation People. We did like a little project back like during the height, just after COVID, I'm pretty sure, or during COVID, I can't remember. I just moved to this country. I had no friends, and I joined this because I was really shy, moving from the other side of the world. And I got to do things like this. I met amazing friends like Yazz and stuff. Yeah. And they're so yeah, joining Participation People and doing activities like this, like talking in front of you guys. Like I would have never done this if it wasn't for Antonia and the courage that she's given me. So we're going to challenge you to be courageous yourselves today by giving you the gift of solving one big student engagement challenge on the spot later today. I mean, like a little bit of a spoiler, but yeah.
Thank you. I joined Participation People. I always mess up on it the first time I say it in a speech like this.
I can't spell it.
I just PP when I write it down. Quite a long time ago, 6 years I've been doing this. I'll be completely honest, when I first did it was at a school council. Kind of like this, but with young people instead of adults, and my teacher essentially pushed me towards Antonia, and I was like, I want to do something, please. And I joined it solely to make friends. I thought, I'm going to do this for a bit, it will be fun, and then I'll leave. That was 7 years ago. And everyone's about values, and I was focusing on kindness for everyone. All the staff have shown me when I was nervous, even today, I've been like, you're doing a great job, and I think that's key to all the staff and all the young people as well. Essentially just being so kind to each other, and that's something that we're going to bring to you today. We're going to obviously listen to your opinions and everything. Like, it's important just to hear what everyone's got to say and give you that gift of kindness and make you excited to involve young people and see what we can bring to your organisations. Thank you.
Pass the mic again.
Can we have a round of applause, please? From our experience, collaboration can go really, really right. It can go really, really wrong. And it can kind of just stay in the same lane. And we're here to try and help you raise your game, or in our words, level up your collaboration spaces, places, and people. Before my computer keeps turning itself off, we want to take you on a little journey today. We want to help you think young people first, so being youth-centric. We want to help you bridge the gap between young people, parents, their important adults or supporters. We want to help you think about inclusivity and transforming some of the small p and big P politics in your organisations. Really think about culture change and transformation informed by young people's insight. And finally, today, we are promising you some interactive engagement to try and get over that delicious lunch that we've all had. So I heard what Claire told me, you're all quite a competitive bunch. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Please stand there in the area. We have some space hoppers up for grabs. Here's the time we go ooh ah. Ooh ah. Okay. We have customised Play-Doh up for grabs. We also have the opportunity for a 1-hour workshop with a group of young consultants for free. That was the most popular, James. And of course, points mean prizes. So I do need to ask you to get your smartphones out and a little bit of connectivity. We have a plan B if this does not work. We are here to find out what you know and what you don't know about Generation Z. Points mean prizes. Star, what is our first question?
Our first question, you might think, how is this relevant? But it's one of our favourite games to play. So it's kind of to break the ice when we do sessions, because some adults working with young people with something like in this setting feels very unfamiliar, and also to us sometimes it can be quite nerve-wracking. And it's more just to realise we're all the same, we're all here for the same thing. So we start off something a little bit silly, a little bit of fun. As you can see, would you rather have eyelashes with fingernails, or fingernails or eyelashes? Oh, very nice. Eyelashes with fingernails is clearly a very popular choice. Yeah, I think me too. I think we're the same.
Great.
Right, so moving on into... Sorry,
They're competitive and chatty.
That's fine.
So moving on into the less icebreaker quiz, and actually going on to what we're focusing on. So the first question is, which generation were you born into? So, did you see a generation? I'll read them out to you. So the silent generation is 1925 to 1945. Baby boomers is 1946 to 1964. Gen X is 1965 to 1980. The millennials is 1981 to 1996. Gen Z, which we're all part of, is 1997 to 2012. And Gen Alpha is 2013 to 2025.
Right, guys, so the next question. Which generation is going to overtake you millennials in here as the largest generation soon? Yeah, you're right. The answer is Gen Z. Gen Z make up 15% of the current population. That's us, well, here, these three people. We're 15% of the population. And we're soon, by 2030, going to be 30% of the population. Woo! So we're important, basically. So as more of us enter the workforce, and as more of us reach higher education, it's really important that we are your target audience, because we're going to be the largest generation. So you've got to figure out how we're going to talk to us. This sounds a bit self-obsessed, but like, this is what I've been told to say. So, I mean, I came up with this myself. But, so, needless to say, this is your target audience. This is the people you're going to be trying to contact and trying to support and trying to get involved in your projects, especially to access higher education. So the case for supporting, enabling, and inspiring us to take on higher education opportunities is stronger than ever.
So our next question is honing a little bit more on social media. So this does refer to social media platforms. When I first read it, I did think, social media apps or sites. So it's free, 3, 5, or 7, and it looks like we're in the majorities. And if you are in the middle, if you did put 5, you are correct. Well, I love that. So competitive. I can hear it. So millennials, so the generation before us can only do 3. Which is going to say we're a little bit more multitasking, up to 5 screens at a time, which does mean that we do have a shorter attention span. But aside from that, we absorb a lot more content. So studies have shown that people in Gen Z actually can recall things that they see better. So 56% of participants who were Gen Z remembered an advertisement they watched for less than 2 seconds, and that the recall rate was 2 times better than participation. Participants of over 40. So a low attention span, but can remember things a lot better.
It's passing around.
Right, so question 3B. So this is leading on from the one Stasia just did with you. So we want to know how many platforms you guys can juggle, remaining on task and present to what you are doing. So this is social media platforms, different tasks. How many can you juggle at one time?
Right, guys, next question. So, how long do you think you have to engage a young person, Gen Z, in a recruitment campaign or education choices message? How long do you think you can hold us for without us getting distracted or swapping tabs or seconds? Yeah, I know. I'm losing my attention right now just talking to you, so...
How long do you have to engage us in a conversation?
Sorry. Well, I'm going to reveal that the answer is 1.7 seconds. I know, that's crazy. It's shrinking every year, and due to the rise of social media, I'm pretty sure. And then after you engage them for 1.7 seconds, you only have 8 seconds before they click off a platform. This is in terms of social media and getting their attention that way, which is crazy. Like, think about it before. I mean, I'm sure you all can pay more attention because you're paying attention to me right now. But if it was all my age in this group, they'd be on their phones probably scrolling on TikTok. It's true. I would do the same. Yeah, so a really good recruitment campaign that I've been involved in, or a good education campaign.
Something you've seen.
What's something I've seen? Oh, yeah. I love, some brands use this to their advantage. They realize how short the attention span is, and they use something relatable to engage with the young person. So when I see something that I can relate to, I'm more likely to be hooked and engaged, and that takes way less time for me to get involved in. And then also it carries on for the 8 seconds that I pay attention to and I scroll. Anyway.
I think you could be like a game show host. Such a perfect quiz for it. So question 5. 1 in how many Gen Z thinks they're more likely to buy a product that's been positively talked about? It's got lots of likes online. So 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, 1 in 7. Oof. Give you some time to vote.
Controversial.
It's actually 1 in 5. So only 4. If you're one of those 4 people, congratulations. And I think it's really true. We're seeing it a lot more, especially with the rise of the influencer, where people promote products and we are constantly exposed to those ads. And I think that it's gone from actual reviews, searching something up, doing a lot of research into, okay, that's got 25,000 likes on TikTok, that must be a good product. Or, oh, that person's recommending that and I like them. And if they're talking good about it, I'm going to buy that. And I think that happens a lot, and I've done it as well. I've been looking for something online and said, okay, I've seen that online, I think it's good. And yeah, I've done it a lot, and I think that, I don't really know why that is. I think it is just social media. It has a lot of influence over even people buying things. Yeah, definitely.
Passing around.
So the next question is, what platform do you think Gen Z or Gen Z go to first when researching something or reviewing a college course, for example, in most of the case for you guys? Where do you think they'll go to? Google or TikTok? So most young people would go to TikTok. This is because it's very popular and they can find any video within a few seconds and a few clicks. Most people would search anything from finances, travel, education, recipes, beauty trends, and according to research by Google, nearly half of young people look to TikTok or Instagram instead of Google Maps or search for answers. It's a big shift in behaviour, something education partners should be mindful of in 2024, and especially in your work.
Okay, next question. Question 7. So, for organizations like you guys looking to engage with Gen Z, us, online, what's the most relatable format for them to use? I'm sure some of you millennials know this one, unless you're sentimental and like gifts. So, as you may have noticed, memes are the answer. It's quite funny. My dad didn't know what a meme was, and having to explain it to him when I was practicing for this was quite an interesting conversation. Among Gen Z who use memes, 64% of people say that they like it when organizations use memes for their marketing purposes. And it makes sense because Generation Z, us, we love young, trendy, and funny brands like Ryanair. They have a huge following on TikTok and Instagram. I'm not sure if you noticed, but their memes are actually really funny, even though they're like completely commercial or whatever. And Duolingo, even though they might not be the best brands, but their social media and their relatability they just leverage that to their own advantage, and they gain such huge following from that, and such a huge reach with engagement to their audience and free customers, I guess. But not really customers in your case, but you know what I mean. So the whole message is, young people love young people, and people that they can relate to, and messages that they can relate to. And formats like memes, not GIFs, are really essential to leverage this.
So, following on from that, the next question is, what percentage of Gen Z say that memes help them to express ideas they normally struggle to communicate? The majority of you are correct. It's actually 73% of young people think they would help them. So this is just a quick question, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just wondering how you can apply this to your organisations. And I know it's a bit of a tricky one, especially if you have to come up with it on the spot, but how do you think you could use memes to help young people form and express their opinions and educational choices? Oh, I like that one. Yeah, ask young people to create the memes.
Don't know what a meme
Young
is.
people involvement, I like this. I don't know what a meme is. Okay, actually that would be quite important to clarify. And it's quite hard to describe. Stumped me a little bit in words. I suppose an image, I can't think of this. Can you think of an
Picture with a funny text.
Yeah.
picture with a funny caption, a funny picture of someone making a funny face, and applicable to every different. Pick your own meme activity.
Memes presentations.
Uni-related memes, and as a uni student myself, they are out there. They are definitely out there. One, if you do want to have a little bit of research, Uni Homes that does like student houses, I suppose. Their TikToks, they're on point. They're really good, and they have student ambassadors, and yeah, very young.
So the next question is, what percentage of Gen Z say that seeing senior executives speak out on sustainability has influenced their thinking and their behaviour? So the answer is actually 33%, which I think is around where you guys have put. And it's really interesting to see what you guys think. And as a young person, seeing senior executives and high-up people in high-up companies really does change my thinking. I think it really depends on who you follow and how they're presenting themselves. But if they go and do something, it kind of becomes a trend, and a lot of young people follow along to it because it's seen as a cool thing to do, or because they believe in that thing. So seeing high-up people doing something really does change the thinking of young people.
Cool, thank you, Yazz. So, question 10. Gaming. Any gamers in the room? No? Just me. So, and them, of course. Gaming is massive for our generation. I mean, as it says up there, so I should just read it. How many in 10 Gen Z are gamers on any device? Wow. Quite a split there. Well, the answer is 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 Generation Z are gamers, which is crazy to think about. That's like 90% if I can do the maths right. I'm skipping maths to be here, so probably not. Sorry. So, how can you leverage this to your advantage? Well, online gaming communities are so interlinked and so interconnected, so if you can tap into that and access that, or sort of, I'm trying to explain this well, but it's not really working. But if you can access these communities, that's a huge sphere of influence that you can get and leverage to your advantage. Just as there's a huge, like for especially younger generations, like the younger side of Generation Z, there's a huge like Minecraft education community, which is weird that I just had no idea about. Anyway.
So that was my last question, and see how competitive you are by if you've been keeping track of your scores. Does anyone think they got 5 or more of those questions right? Raise your hand if you think you did.
Wow.
Okay, what about 7 or more?
Come on.
Oh, we got
We
a
got one.
hand.
We got a winner.
Do you think you got more than 8? We've got one hand. Congratulations.
So the big question, what does this all mean? What does this mean for your role? We wanted to play a little game to try and help you understand young people, backed up by research, obviously. We will share the sources for you afterwards. But also to get you to put yourselves in young people's shoes for a split second. We know you do this already. We also know that you probably struggle in your organisations with people that don't really put themselves in young people's shoes. So we wanted to get you to think about these questions. How can we learn and embrace social media, digital and tech, to inform what we do on the ground? How can we learn from it? How can we learn from young people who are using it all the time? And in my case, with my 2 stepchildren, about 8 hours a day. Apparently they don't sleep. How can we keep things short and snappy so they're always engaged, they get the message right first time, they remember it, and then they apply that into their practice. How can we do that as professionals? How can we gamify everything we do? Bring the Mary Poppins out of the cupboard and really embrace gamification in our practice, whether that's evaluation forms, whether that's a tour around university, a day in the life with the dean or your principal, behind the scenes, an FAQ or a myth-busting live Instagram opportunity. How can we gamify everything in our roles? And finally, we have to move beyond surveys and focus groups. And we say this because we work with young people who are from really disadvantaged and vulnerable backgrounds. They will not take part unless you're paying them a lot of money, you're providing transport, and they can just sit there and play on their phone. So how can we as a profession move beyond what we've known has worked before, learning from social media, keeping it short and snappy, and making sure that we're gamifying everything. Think about the biggest student engagement challenge you are facing right here today, and I'm going to put my young consultants on the spot with all the training and support and permissions to miss school, Jeremy, not skip school, and try and help you in this keynote today, because why not? Claire gave us carte blanche. But what we will also promise while you're thinking about what your biggest problems are is that we will type them up and take it back to our team of 64 other young consultants. They're very chatty on WhatsApp, and try and solve them if we can't get round to everything today. And Bradley, I just want to do a little time check. How long have we got, please?
8 minutes.
Beautiful. Perfect, thank you.
I mean, that's fine.
So please put into the Menti, what are your biggest student engagement challenges you're currently facing?
I saw one about the reach of reaching young people and getting information across to them. And I think the biggest thing is using a variety of platforms, so not just only going into schools, giving information to schools, because there's students who may not be at school that day, there's students who are home educated, or students that don't go to that particular school that you shared the information with. You need to use a variety of platforms. You could use social media, as well as sending out the information into schools, as well as putting it on another social platform, on an email to an emailing group. You need to use a wide variety of platforms. You could go to youth groups in your area. There's so many ideas and opportunities for you to reach out to young people. You should need to think outside the box and not only go to schools.
Nice.
I saw one about what was it? Attendance. So I think a huge part of attendance is incentivization for like what you're doing. Like for example, I probably wouldn't be here if there wasn't free lunch. So free food and free stuff is always great for incentivizing, and also like sometimes we give out vouchers because young people just don't really do things for free anymore, which is kind of weird. Unless it's a huge incentive. Like for example, this huge opportunity. Antonia marketed it to me like, oh, this is like public speaking. You can do this. This is fun, and I'm here. But if she just said, come to this event, and didn't really tell me about what's so great about it, I wouldn't be here. So attendance is always about like incentivizing, talking about why it's good, what they get out of it. Like for example, great stuff on their CV. This is great for my CV. I can say that I talked in front of a university network. So incentivization and that stuff is great.
The attendance at one-to-one meetings, what we found with young people, it's not just reminding them once, it's reminding them 6 times. And that has massively changed. It's after the post-COVID phase, I suppose, post-COVID era. Before, you could just remind them on the day, but actually now you need to remind them 2-3 times on the day, and also try and remind their important adults to get them across the threshold too. It's really hard. We would also suggest looking at the diversity and representation of your team, and whether young people can see themselves in the professionals that they're working with. It's a hard one to challenge, we know, but we do involve young people in our staff recruitment, selection, induction, training, onboarding, and 360-degree appraisals. These guys tell me how well James at the back does in his role, how brilliant Lauren is engaging with her groups of special education needs and disabilities young people as well. So think about how young people can offer you that reciprocity of exchange. Getting heat completed. Okay. These are some very specific ones. Funds and capacity, fears about finance. I tell you what. Yazz, can I suggest something around building a meaningful relationship? Maybe Star, you might want to hit that one.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I think it kind of goes back to everything that we kind of highlighted about. It's just, I don't know how to say it. It's being relevant to the young person, I suppose, and making them. I always think I've been in a placement in a first school at the moment, and they find it crazy when we mention that there's a girl who's very obsessed with Taylor Swift. And I say, yeah, I know Taylor Swift. And she's like, what? She's like, you're so cool, Miss Smith. And I think, obviously that's for very young people, very young children, but I think the same thing applies even with people my age. I find it with my lecturers, they say something, I'm like, oh, you're a real person, like, you're cool. And I think it's really important to get through that barrier of I'm an adult talking at you, and I'm a person, and I want the best for you, and then it's reciprocity again, and that you kind of have that connection with the people that you're speaking to. I think that's really important, and to get that connection, to bond with them in that way, be like, I'm real, and I want the same thing, yeah, and being relevant and connecting with them like that.
So we're in the final stages of wrapping up. Before we move on, one of the best education providers that we've worked with recently is actually where they've got students in to train teachers on inset days. And it turns the power paradigm on its head from teachers being trained by teachers, whereas actually young people give them a guided tour of what the school actually looks like from their perspective. And it does help senior leadership think about the day in the life of a young person at their school rather than a day in their life at their school. So just turning things on their head slightly does change and open doors for you all. We really encourage you to think young person first. And if you need any help, we're here to help you. We're going to very quickly summarise because we're running over. Who am I passing the mic to? You first. Okay, go to start.
So our key takeaways and just things we want you to remember and think about is one of the first thing is the short attention spans. Gen Z we're exposed, as I said earlier, exposed to so much social media and so much digital content, but things are changing, the world is changing, probably down to the pandemic, probably down to phones and so much social media, not even just Facebook now, there's so many choices, as you said, you could juggle 5 at a time. And to think about what social media platforms you're using, and so like TikTok, we said earlier, Instagram and Instagram Reels and things like that, to just attract young people in things that they'd be watching, because I hardly check Facebook at all anymore. And with the attention span, more photos, more just things you can look at rather than lots of text, and that also helps to make it more accessible, so it's kind of a double win, 2 in 1. Yeah, and working with young people, like sometimes we post things on a participation people Instagram story, or we post things from us, and having them co-developing your content to make it, you know that it's relevant, you know that a young person produced it, and young people are going to like it.
Another thing that's really important is authenticity. So we've grown up online, we've grown up with your adverts, and so we know when a company is trying to get us to do something, or when it's actually worthwhile for us to do something. So authenticity is a huge part of this. You must be authentic when you're trying to do something for young people. Like, you can't just tell them, oh, do this, it'll be great. You've got to say, do this because it's helped this person, do this because it's helped me in this way. You've got to be authentic in your messaging towards young people, which is really important. So it's also great to train your senior executives in student management techniques designed by young people, which is what we do here at Participation People, and we found that it works great because we can spot inauthenticity, especially in like teachers. When I can tell when a teacher doesn't want to teach, it's just like reading from the slides. So anyway.
Before I pass back to Antonia to close off, I just want to say you do have the power to change the way your company works and how you're reaching young people. There's so many ways you can get through to young people, and you just haven't found them yet if you're struggling. So do try your hardest and ask young people for help. People like us, we're more than happy to have a conversation, more than happy to help here at Participation People, and you've got the power to change it.
Can we hear it up for our young people? One final thing, legal thing actually, to leave you with is that according to the United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, I think I've got that in the right order, it's young people's choice to participate. It's absolutely their choice. It's also their choice to participate at a level that they want to participate at. As professionals, it is absolutely absolutely our duty to listen. And I wanted to leave you with that for your careers and education pathways, choices, programs. Because if we're not listening and not engaging with young people on their terms, then they're going to vote with their feet. So let's bring them back across the threshold. This is us. This is not a sales pitch, but if we can help you in any way, even just for a virtual cuppa and chat, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you all. And we love to evaluate and think about impact, as we know you do, because you're all asked to do it a lot. Claire tells me about all the spreadsheets she has to go through. So, if you wouldn't mind, our last engagement opportunity for our keynote, please. How has this presentation left you feeling? And what one learning moment are you going to take back to your desks tomorrow before the inbox hits you? How has this keynote left you feeling? And one learning moment. We've got inspired, woo, encouraged, yes. Design a meme activity, oh yes please. I feel seen and hopeful that WP is forward-facing, hopeful for change, old, sorry, but hopeful there are some tools there to help. Engaged, really hopeful that we can engage, getting students to give a tour from their experience, how they see it. Everyone has similar issues engaging with young people. Feeling reassured, and I'm keen to take reflection back to my team to ensure we let young people inform us rather than the other way around. What a perfect place to pause. A massive thanks for your participation today. Massive thanks to our young consultants. And we really wish you well in your next workshop. Thank you very much.